Great, got it recording now. Anyway, today we're going to go over their transition from 1.0 to 2.0. The major differences between 1.0 and 2.0 is, first of all, everything that we do in 2.0 is real time. I don't know if you guys in the past where you wanted to add a word to a template, you wanted to add name, or you wanted to add weight, or you wanted to add something. Before, that was a great ordeal. It could be up to 3-4 months for us to get that done, depending on how many we had ahead of you. 2.0 was designed that we can do all that real time. In fact, you can actually do it real time, or your local admin can actually do that real time. We got an officer up in Arkansas in a small town, and I'm talking a small town. If any of you guys are golfers, I could hit a driver and a sandwich from one end of this town to the other. And he was able to add all of his own templates. So your local admin is going to have a lot of power in 2.0 and the ability to go ahead and change templates and add templates if you so want that. Second of all, workflow, real-time workflow. Anything can be changed in 2.0 real time. You may decide that you want a group of officers to have to send it to a reviewer. I know in this case, at least I'm demoing no reviewers, what I was told. So, but that can be changed real time by your people. Last but not least, probably the biggest change is the phone apps. The phone apps are amazing. I didn't like phone apps when we first started writing this thing. I thought it was a waste of time. But the phone apps have turned out to be totally amazing. They're very quick. They're very clean. I would say that in 2.0, the judges signed probably 75% of their warrants are signed with using the phone apps. They basically click on a button and everything is sized for their phone, and it's very easy for them to read and very easy for them to use. Also, if you want to write a warrant, now there's a couple in iOS like the Master. I don't think they can write a warrant in the phone app yet, but you can actually completely write a warrant now using the phone app. Now, if you're anything like me with these big old fat thumbs, it's pretty hard to type PC out with their, in a phone app. It's pretty hard to type PC out. The reason I actually did this is my wife's down here in Panama City Beach is a very successful real estate agent. And I watched her type on her and text on her phone. And I could not believe how fast she could type on that thing. It's almost as fast as I could type on a keyboard. So we do have officers out there that are completely writing warrants, start to finish, using the iOS or the Android phone app. So, and in order to get them, basically you just go to iOS, Apple Store or Google Play, and log in, type in warrant now, one word, and you're able to download your app right there. So let's get started. And the hardest part of it, the very hardest part about 2.0, the very hardest part is getting logged in the first time. After that, you're going to see it's extremely simple. But, excuse me, we're going to get logged in the first time. Now go to www.warrantnow where you've gone before, click on 2.0 instead of 1.0. And my internet's real slow in this building because we're changing internet today. So they promised me that if they do lose it for a few minutes, they'll get me right back. So anyway, in this case, I'm going to log in as a detective, a Baldwin detective. D-W-I-N-D. And this is logging in for the first time. Now, you will receive a text and an email with us with a security code. Okay, so you'll go to 2.0, you'll type in your username, which is your email address, and then you'll set up your password. Okay, we'll set the password up. I'm going to set a password up, and then I'm going to set up the password again, confirm it, and then down here I'm going to type in the security code, which I was sent to me. So here we go. I'll type in the security code. 83. I'm not a robot. Okay, what's happened now is I have now entered my new password. So now we're going to log into the system for the first time. So we're going to put in the password I just set up. Then we're going to put in the security code again. 6450878 and we are now logged in. Now, the first thing you're going to do after you log in is you're going to go up this little hamburger icon. That's what it's called. I just found that out about a month ago. Right next to your name. Click on that, and then click on this little key. Then you're able to change the security code to something you can remember. So I'm going to go with my security code that we sent you one more time. And then I'm going to put in the new security code. And you can see my security code has been updated. Hit close. You're ready to roll. That is the hardest part of 2.0 right there, is getting logged in the first time. Now, let's go ahead and show you some of the other things, and you're going to love some of the new features. You're going to see that even on my internet, how much quicker and faster 2.0 is than 1.0 because it's new software. It's written in a new language, and it's new software. So we're going to go down and we're going to hit create, and we're going to create a arrest warrant. And you can see what's happened here is we've got basically the same thing we had before. We have a template, and you can see, like I say, my internet's a little slow here. So let's quickly go ahead and let's type out a warrant. Okay, warrant number again, same thing as before. We can put this in for you, or you can put your own in. Now we're down to the counts. Again, you can put in any number you want here, 196 if you want. I'm just going to put 1. And RS code, put in RS, and those numbers will start coming up. And then hit felony or misdemeanor, hit add. Boom, same thing as before. Just remember that you must hit add in order to save your information or save the charge in there. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to put in the PC. What I'm going to do for PC, I'm just going to put a bunch of S's and a bunch of X's so you can see where it goes with the warrant. Go down into location of offense. We're going to drop a picture in here just like we did before. Well, I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to put location. And then I'm going to drop a picture in. And now in 2.0, you actually can drop as many pictures as you want into. Now, of course, the more pictures, the more resolution. Of course, the slower everything's going to load and everything. So, and you can see it, everything sizes out the way it's supposed to. There's your picture just like before. Now, one of the other changes in 2.0 is we can create these boxes any way we want to. So one of the problems we had in 1.0 at times is like the time, military time. People would not put it in wrong, or they'd put a comma in there. Or in my warrant, I've opened these boxes up completely. I can type literally anything I want to in these boxes. So I'm going to put in time of crime. I'm going to put in 10 p.m. Parish or county. I live in Bay County, Florida. Name. Address. And you can see it's just simple as typing what they ask. 1, 2, 1961. You can see I just had a birthday. I just turned 60. Social Security number. Again, with the boxes being completely open, I can put any number in there I want. You just want to make sure you get the right amount of numbers in there, of course. Let's go ahead. Gender. I'm going to male. Blue eyes. My height is 5'9". At least it used to be. 210. And I don't have any distinguishing marks. And now I'll go down to victim information. And hit save. There it is. See how fast that creates that warrant and versus to the 1.0. Now that I've got a warrant here, I'm going to show you a little bit more of what is on your dashboard, because your dashboard has changed a ton. You can see serial number. Don't worry about that. That's a kind of an internal number. You can see now we've run over 12,000 warrants in 2.0. You can see the warrant number, the type of warrant it is, the detective, judge, reviewer, the client, suspect's name, status of warrant is the big one here. So everything runs off in status of warrant. This is a draft warrant, and type of user. So if this is a draft warrant and you're a detective, you're going to have these options. Now, remember, we can change these options at will. We can change these options real time. In a matter of seconds, I can add a reviewer. Okay, very simply. Okay, you also can see it's a draft one. We can delete it, and we do also have in 2.0 until the judge signs it. We have the ability for you to recall the warrant if you see a mistake you made. So, but now if this was a judge up there and it was a submitted to judge warrant, then his options obviously would be different. But in this case, you can see it's very simple, very cut and dry. You can see over here on the right is a paperclip. If you would like to add documents to this, you can, and it will follow with a paperclip, and the judge will know that he has documents added if he has a paperclip showing up. So, and this is the audit trail, and we're going to get into the audit trail in a few minutes. So at this point in time, let's go ahead and let's preview the warrant. Okay. Now you can see again how much cleaner and nicer the warrants look. You can see the applicant signed the warrant. You can see there's been no date or timestamp yet. There's been no judge's signature yet. And you can see all the information is right there. And we're ready to move on. Again, you can see here's a picture I dropped in there. And so, okay, let's go ahead. At this point in time, we're ready to send this to the judge because I think this is a direct to judge type thing. So we're going to go ahead and click on here, and we're going to click judge. Now, again, you can clone it like you want to. You can print it. You can update it. Any of these things you want to do. So let's click judge. Now, one of the changes we made from 1.0 to 2.0 is in 1.0, if you remember right, you have to pick your judge when you start writing your warrant. 2.0, we do not pick the judge until it's sent to the judge. Reason why is if you're in a bigger city, for example, and you got 8, 9, 10 judges, if you start writing this warrant on Wednesday and you don't send it till the following Wednesday, the on-call judge probably changed. Now, yeah, we do allow you to change judges just like before. We've got on-call judge in here. We've got judges away in here, different things like that. But this way, you're known, if I'm going to send the warrant today, I know that Judge B is there and Judge B is taking warrants. So it loosens a lot of that different things you have to do. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to send it to the Baldwin judge. This is a comments area. Okay. This I'll get a little more heavily into in a little bit, but this is an area that you can type any comments you want. When we first started writing this thing, I put this in there, and I really didn't think it'd be used. Believe it or not, about 30% of our warrants now have some kind of comments in there. Now, a lot of it is just, hi, Judge, thanks for taking my warrant, or things of that. But now the big new changes are this. First of all, we have an urgent box. Urgent box is made when it's an urgent warrant. And please only use it when it's an urgent warrant. You send a judge a warrant at 3 o'clock in the morning, it probably better be urgent. Okay. And when the warrant is sent to the judge, after you click this box, the text in the email will say urgent right on it. So the very first line of the warrant is urgent. So the judges know that. Second of all, this is one the judges love. And this is the ability to notify the judge later. Now, the warrant goes into their account right away. So if it's Saturday afternoon and you want to send the judge a warrant, but you don't want to notify him till Monday because he doesn't need to do this till next week. You don't want to bother him on the weekend. Do use this and then put in Monday's date at 10 a.m. Okay. But if the judge happens to log in on a Saturday afternoon because he's got nothing going on and he happened to get another warrant, or he just wants to see if he has any warrants that he wants to handle, this button will allow the judge to be able to go in and do that, but you're not waking him up at 3 o'clock in the morning for something that isn't urgent, okay? So what really, I guess, when I use 3 o'clock in the morning, really this says is that you should, with this system, you should never send the judge a warrant at 3 o'clock in the morning that he doesn't need to do right away, okay? So anyway, in this case, I'm going to take this off. We're going to go ahead and hit the urgent button, and we're going to click judge. Now is where you swear, just like before. And now you can see the warrant has changed colors. The warrant now has a blue color and it says submitted to judge. Okay. You can see now the things, the workflow has changed. Now you can recall this if you want to, or you can change judges if you want to. But you can see this has changed now because the status of the warrant and the type of detective with a warrant submitted to judge, that's what they wanted to see in their workflow. You also see the little red button over here. The little button over here says it was an urgent warrant. So this is something that you need fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and log in quick as a judge, if I can remember all my usernames and passwords. Okay, this is Baldwin, ain't it? LDWINJ, I believe. And yes, I'm always happy when I get through this because I got so many of these I forget at times. Okay, now we're logged in as a judge. Okay, so what does the judge see on his screen? He sees the same thing you have basically, except for you can see that his actions have changed. He can preview the warrant, and the first thing he would do is preview the warrant. Okay, then he can approve the warrant, reject the warrant, or he can print the warrant. Now, if the judge wants different options, we can give the judge different options just like we can give you different options. Okay, again, this whole thing now is real-time stuff that allows you to make changes at will. It may us making changes or your local admin to make changes. So, and being we already previewed this one, I'm not going to preview it again. So the judge previews it, and let's say the judge is going to approve the warrant. Okay, again, here's the comments area. And then you go down here, and I'm going to set bond. And you can see he has bond conditions. Now, due to the phone apps, we do have some bond sheets that we can put in here where they could basically check marks on 5, 6 different things that they may want to see. Let's say they always have that the bond is not good is good for 24 hours after they've been arrested or something like that. We can give you stuff that you just check rather than have to type it in for a judge's say. So let's go ahead and let's put some numbers in here. The initial thing is actually, if you as a judge would like to see your initials on the bottom of every page, we can do that. It really was made for California, to be honest with you. So let's go ahead and let's hit approve warrant. Again, this is everything's been date and timestamp, just the same thing that was in 1.0. Okay, now you can see the warrant is gone. The warrant is gone because the warrant has actually gone into the judge's archive now. Well, here's one of the big changes we made in 1.0 to 2.0. In 1.0, the bond was never attached. In fact, you guys probably all know this well. The bond was never attached to the warrant until the detective printed it. There was 2 problems with that. Sometimes they would click no on that button and then they would lose their bond. The second thing was if the judge, and I probably got 2 calls a month on this, if the judge would go ahead and set his bond for $5,000, but maybe he accidentally set it for $50,000, he would have no way of going back and looking at this bond until the officer printed it. Well, in this case, the bond immediately ties to the warrant. It is already in the judge's archives. So at this point in time, if the judge would like to, he can go back and look at the archives and see what he set for a bond and see what's all on the information that's all in there, because it's there right away. You don't have to wait for the detective to print it. So let's quickly go into, and here's another thing. If we do have any judges on the phone, Judge Away. If you would like to be Judge Away, if you're absolutely positive you do not want to sign any warrants, your daughter's wedding. I'll tell you the reason we put it on there. If any of you guys know Judge Craig from Bossier City, he wanted it on here because Judge Craig signs hundreds of warrants a year, but he will not sign warrants during a fishing tournament. So we had to, we've got this on the admin side, but we had to move it up here for Judge Craig because he wanted to be able to make sure that he could get away and not sign any warrants during fishing tournaments. So anyway, we're just going to go back in. ALD W-I-N-D. We're going to go back in as the detective now to who wrote the warrant. If Brian gets all this stuff typed correctly. Oh, I did. There it is. Okay, you can see now the judge has now, or the warrant has now changed colors again. Now it is green. It's a judge-approved warrant. Now, into 1.0, the minute you would have gone ahead and printed this warrant, it would go to your archives. That was an issue. We had people printing warrants, and then they would lose them. They couldn't find them. They were always there, but we'd have to help them find them. In this case, this warrant will not go to archives until you tell it to. Okay, you can print it 50 times if you want to. You can do whatever you want to. You can see here are your options. Your options are to clone, preview, print, or archive. But now, the other thing is, and they didn't have me put this in there for you guys, but the other thing is that you also can send this to, if you guys file your warrants somewhere else, we can add them in there and it automatically goes right to them. And so, yeah, we can have it automatically go to like a jail, or we can have it where you send it to a clerk of courts or someone who files it for you. All that can be done in the system too. We got people that are doing that all over the place that are using that. So if that's something you'd like in the future, just let us know. All we got to do is turn it on. Okay, but let's go ahead and preview this. So, okay, so you can see again how much faster, and this is a slow internet connection, how much faster it is. Victim information. Here it's now signed. It's now signed by the judge. Everything's time and date stamped. And the time and date stamp right now, I believe, is Central Time. That is going to change to where we will actually put in there Central Time or Pacific Time or Eastern Time to make it a little easier to understand. That's coming, I don't know, a week or two. We already started working on it. And you can see everything's judge. And then let's go down to the bottom here, and you've got the bond is right there. So everything is right there, ready for you to go ahead now and print preview. So let's go ahead and let's take this to an archive. So we're going to go ahead and archive this warrant. Here is the comments area, the main reason I wrote the comments area. Okay, let's say, and you'd not believe how often this happens, but let's say you've got a judge-approved warrant. Well, let's start with a judge-rejected warrant. You got a judge-rejected warrant, you're going to put it in your archives. You might want to put some notes in why you rejected that warrant, or you might want to put some notes in to say, okay, I made some changes on this warrant, reference warrant 256438. The biggest reason, though, is on a judge-approved warrant that you decided not to execute. You decided not to, let's say you found out somebody else did the crime, or the biggest thing is you wanted to rewrite that arrest warrant because you wanted to add 10 different charges, 10 more charges. Okay, in that case, what would happen before is you would put this in the archives and you would have no idea where a year from now why you didn't serve that warrant, or why you didn't execute that warrant. Well, in this case, you can put in here anything you want to put in here and say, okay, the reason I didn't execute it was X, Y. And then that information will be there. So let's go ahead and just take a quick look at that. You can see once I archive it, there's my dashboard. Let's go ahead and go up here. Let's go to archive warrants. You can see the warrant we just did. You can go over here. Now, if you ever need to print this warrant again, just hit preview and hit print or download right here. It's all right there. So you can print it, do as much as you want with it. Or in this case, you can see where I put good warrant. So if you ever want to put any information on these warrants or anything else, why you didn't, the biggest reason is why you didn't execute a warrant. 2 years from now, if somebody audits, you'll know. Let's go. I don't think there's much on at a glance yet for you. This is at a glance. This will be something that will be kind of your account wide. You can see that, we've only done a couple, 3, 4 warrants here. and the warrant details isn't even there yet because I haven't done anything with it. So anyway, any questions? Just the biggest changes are the apps. The biggest changes are the real-time changes to the application, because before that was our biggest stumbling point, was we couldn't keep up with the changes that need to be made. So that's why we wrote this, so that there could be numerous, you can make changes live anytime you need to. So any questions? I love nobody ever asking any questions. Geez, there's 14 people on here. One of you got to be brave. Okay, if there's no other questions, the plan is to Thursday or Wednesday to turn this on. You will receive an email and a text message from us. You can use the same passwords you use in the other service. And we will leave 1.0 up for 10 days. So if you need to get anything out of it. Now, we will not be moving any of the warrants from 1.0 to 2.0. The reason is number one, it's written in a complete different language. Number two, there's a lot of warrants now that are going back 6, 7 years in 1.0. And what happens is any information that sits even in Adobe, even in a PDF, sitting there that long sometimes will start to become corrupt. So I don't want to take the chance of moving any corrupt information from 1.0 into 2.0. Now, if at any point in time you need to get that information, just let us know. We can either turn your account back on for a day or two, or we can go get the warrants you need. And we will be keeping them warrants for, well, we're going to keep them at least 7 years. So, and eventually we may even put a login here that you can log into the 1.0. After we completely move everybody off in 1.0, then it'll be easy to make it basically a read-only type site that we can. So far we've had nothing but, well, it's always hard for me to change. I probably had, I don't know, 10, 15 people that liked 1.0 that would rather go back to, but I probably got 3,000 that are happy they're on 2.0 just because it's much cleaner, much faster, and it allows the flexibility to do almost anything you want with a warrant. Anything else? Okay, if you need us, you know how to get a hold of us, and I got 3 more of these today, so have a good day. And
sir.
Yeah.
Sir. Yeah, will we still be able to clone those warrants if we need to clone those warrants?
Pardon?
We'll be able to clone if we need to clone the warrants and redo it or resend it. Are we going to still be able to clone it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I don't have a warrant up here. Yeah, you have the option at any time that you want to. At any time, you have the option to be able to clone the warrants, except for once they're in the archives. Now, can I change that to give you the option to clone in the archives? Yeah, I can. I mean, again, that's the flexibility of what we're doing here. But yeah, no, cloning warrants. Now, one problem, the one thing that I've had a couple people didn't like, and be honest with you, but when we wrote it this way, we really couldn't do this, is that we used to have a clone for return. Now you'll have to do a return. And then the reason is because with the flexibility of being able to change these warrants to where we can change them and the way we can manipulate everything, we can't tie them together anymore. So that will be that's the only downside I've had so far, that I had a few guys that say, I really like to clone. Well, all you got to do is type his name in again. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But with the flexibility of being able to change things like HID, we just could not do that unless it was hard coded. And almost nothing in 2.0 is hard coded.
Okay. Will there be instructions popping up to kind of guide you, or an example, or to let you know what you can do or what you can't do?
No, I do. We are recording these little training things, and if you'd like to, we're going to put some of them on the webpage. So if you'd need a refresher, Or, you know, you guys know me. You've known me for, Christ, how many years we've been doing this? Feel free, you know, just call us. Hey, Brian, I forgot how to do this. Now we're more than happy to help you through it.
Okay.
So, okay. Well, have a good night, everybody, or good afternoon, and everybody be safe out there, okay?
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.